I was really looking forward to this game because the original Watch Dogs was my favorite game of 2013. I love the hacking, the puzzle-solving challenges involving cameras, the QED puzzles and epic car chases in which you could turn the tables by hacking traffic lights, sewer explosions or drawbridges. That said, it took me a little while to warm up to this sequel. I immediately realized the game was structured somewhat differently than the first and noticed the hack upgrade tree was missing some of my most beloved hacks, such as the aforementioned raising the drawbridge hack. Of more concern was that I wasn't feeling the story in the early hours of Watch Dogs 2. I know a lot of people slammed the original story, but I found its plot of the kidnapped sister in peril to be somewhat compelling and a reason for me to pick up the game day after day. Now, after dozens of hours of play, I can say I am as obsessed with this new game as I was with the last, and I see the new one as an improvement. San Francisco is a gorgeous sandbox, the play mechanics are well designed, and I've come to love the band of hacker misfits headed by Marcus. The biggest change from the original is the use of the RC jumper and the flying drone. In the original, you were always sort of pushed toward inevitable gunplay, even though you could use hacking at the outset to thin out your opponents considerably without gunplay. In the new one, you don't have to use guns at all, you can use the jumper and drone to do nearly all of the work while using stealth. Both units control great. And big tip, buy the flying drone and acquire the RC jumper jump upgrade as soon as you can. Anyway, lots to love about this game. Nothing really to hate. Much better than the first game. Pros, while the characters are a bit annoying, they are far more likable than the first game's protagonist Aiden Pierce. The gameplay is by far more fun, and Terry's just more to do in terms of side activities. San Francisco is a far more pleasing city to look at compared to the first game's location Chicago. Cons, the story is almost non-existent. The difficulty curve is not there until the last few missions, then it jumps up like crazy. Overall not bad. Not great, but not bad. Amazing game. One of the funniest games I played in 2017. The story is fantastic, and keeps a great pace throughout the game while maintaining a wonderful open-world experience. I had a blast unlocking new abilities, toys, and felt I never had to grind to get them. Unlocking everything became just as fun as playing the story. The cars are fun to drive and I dig the different selections. Boats are kind of gimmicky but still fun to fly around the water. I am from the Bay Area, so I may be biased to loving the locale they chose for the game. The music is fantastic. The multiplayer is fun, but there isn't a lot of content. Expanding the multiplayer could be something for WD3, but the single-player campaign was truly something special. I highly recommend this to anyone who loves third-person actions games. This was a home run. I have logged 281 hours playing this game. That in itself shows how much I like the game. The campaign mode is challenging and fun. Online mode is where I spend most of my time now that I have finished the campaign. I love the hacking invasion of another player. It's a lot of fun to mess with people by blowing stuff up, sending gang members after them, etc. My only complaint though is a big one. The online play frequently locks up and actually causes my Xbox One X to shut off. This happens about 20% of the time. I've reached out to Ubisoft, but they have no response other than reinstalling the game, which isn't the problem. It only locks up when playing online through their Ubisoft servers. Watch Dogs 1 did not have this issue, and checking the forums, I am far from alone, yet Ubisoft refuses to release a bug patch. Overall, it's one of my favorite games, which is why I'm so frustrated when the game randomly locks up hard. I have also found that there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of people playing online. The group races, or showdown events, are rarely usable because of the lack of participation from online play. I'd recommend this game, but be aware of its pitfalls. This game is a lot like Grand Theft Auto, but with hacking. I love being able to hack traffic lights and other vehicle when being chased by the police. The only problem is I end up spending more time creating police chases than playing the actual story. Some people say they don't like the different vibe from this game compared to the first one, but honestly I think it's great. The game mechanics are still the same and the story is plain fun. The story has a sort of new kids on the block feel with so much hope. I love it. The online stuff is totally fun too. A little repetitive, but playing with new people keeps it kind of fresh. If you've played the first game, give this one at least a try. Get out of Aiden Pierce's gloomy world and head into these kids' colorful one. I love this game. It is full of excitement, gadgets and gear, which are my favorites. I think they really stepped up the action from the first game. The only drawback is that it offers so much content some people may lose that direction and effort to complete it all. I've been waiting for this game since the first one was released. I loved the first one, but it took itself way too seriously and wasn't lighthearted enough. The developers listened to our complaints, and they changed all that. This game is extremely lighthearted, it's bright and colorful, not nearly as gritty and dark, and the protagonist is actually likable. I liked Aiden, but wanted more from him. He was drier than my knuckles after vaping for a week. The new features and the seamless multiplayer make this game feel new and fresh, but still familiar. I love all of the side mission content. It's endless. I've barely touched the main story at all, and I've put in about 40 hours into it. There's a ton of unlockable content, vehicles to buy, weapons to buy, and beautiful scenery to look at. Graphics are great too. If you're looking for a huge, massive open-world game, grab this. If you're a fan of the first game, this one is a no-brainer. If you didn't like the first one, for any reason, check this out. Ubisoft fixed just about all the cons from the first game. This game is pretty fun. Not as revolutionary as the first game, but the gameplay takes what was good, and expands on it. It's still really nerve-wracking to jump into someone's game and try to hack them, and it's still super satisfying to put an enemy hacker out of their misery for daring to intrude in yours. The story's a bit lackluster towards the beginning, but it gets better. The characters are better acted than in the first game. San Francisco was fun to explore, and a lot of the game's themes were eerily similar to what's been going on in the U.S. lately. Click link in description for more reviews.